A sec for Wi-Fi. We're on the good Wi-Fi now. Cool. Righty ho. Let's get some people in. So yeah, this is a debate channel, a discussion channel, a question zone channel. Let's get some people on the stage. Let's get some conversations going, some live conversations. Let's get some guests in the stream, on the stage, and have a live discussion. Join that button, join the queue. Let's get you up. Let's hear it. And yes, hello to everyone joining. Good to see you all. Thanks for joining, everyone. Thoughts on Viltrum? Do you mean from the show Invincible? Yeah, Viltrum's awesome. Viltrumites, yeah, they kick a load of butts. Why not? Yeah, let's go, Shroom. Absolutely. Let's kick some butt today. Yeah, hoping to get some people on to do some more debates, kick some more butts. Let's show them the meaning of logic. You know, let's show them the meaning of empathy, the meaning of extinction. Yeah, put out quite a few videos today, but let's do a bit of streaming. I can stream for maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Petal Shade is asking, how did you start this idea? You know, how did you start the idea to cause total extinction and to end all suffering? I didn't start the idea. It was started 3 or 4 years ago by somebody else. And they started the movement, they started growing it, they started putting out videos as soon as they could. As soon as this person realized that extinction was the only right thing to do, the only way to end suffering, and that it was urgently needed, they started a movement immediately. They started making videos, started trying to get people to join and help them to grow the movement even more, to make even more videos. And it worked, right? It actually worked. They started, you know, putting out the message that suffering is unacceptable, that, you know, being tortured for your entire life, begging for death, that's not really acceptable, and that the only right thing was to prevent that ultimate harm. So they started making videos and loads of people started joining. Loads of people, and started doing activism every single day, making videos. And then 1 year ago, one of those activists found me on Reddit, and they said, you know, join the movement, help us end all suffering. And I agreed. I said, how can I help? And I started doing activism immediately, as did all of the other activists in our group. And yeah, now we're growing globally. You know, so again, I didn't start the movement, but I did, you know, join us, you know, almost instantly. You know, I thought, what a great idea. So as soon as they said, yeah, we're going to end all suffering with extinction, I immediately realized that it's the right thing to do and that it was possible and that there was no other way to end all suffering. So those are kind of the main things that you have to understand really when joining the movement. And a lot of people struggle to understand that. And most people struggle to understand that extinction is possible. And they struggle to understand that it's the right thing to do. So, but you know, all of that goes against nature. You know, if we evolved to actually consider whether or not life should exist, then, you know, it wouldn't have existed, basically. So evolution forced life to go against its own best interests and to essentially substitute its best interests, which is safety, with other things which are actually against its own interests. So evolution and nature made it so that animals and humans would be happy to be exposed to unlimited danger and to just not care about it, to not think about it, to be blind, to be ignorant to all of that danger. And so that, you know, that's why they'll have, you know, children of their own, not care if they suffer terribly, and they'll continue to exist themselves, not caring if they suffer terribly, completely blind to the risks and the dangers. And in this world, the risks and dangers are so extreme that they make it so that the only rational thing is to support non-existence and the safety of non-existence, the ultimate safety of non-existence over the ultimate and unlimited danger of extreme suffering that you have in this world in existence. So yeah, who would want to be exposed to unlimited danger for very little reward, very little return? Nobody really would, right? It was completely irrational to say, yeah, I don't mind putting myself in a position where, there's a million different ways that I could end up being tortured horrifically and begging for death and wishing I'd never been born. I'll accept the risk of going to hell so that I can have a little bit of fun. No, obviously that's ridiculous. That's like gambling. It's like an extreme form of gambling. Where the consequences are quite literally the worst consequences possible. Like literally, right? Because again, there is nothing worse, there's nothing you can even imagine that would be worse than being trapped in the life of pure hell begging for death, right? I dare you to suggest something worse than that. I dare you, right? I challenge you to suggest something worse than being trapped in the life, being imprisoned and begging for death, being tortured, suffering terribly. Can you name something worse than that? And is that something that you would want to risk? Ever? No. I mean, we're all just one car accident away from being trapped with brain damage and chronic pain and begging for death with no access to euthanasia. We're all one car accident away from, being paralyzed with chronic pain and, trapped nerves and, amputations and all sorts of horrible stuff, right? Nobody wants to experience that. And yet everyone seems to be fine with it, and they're fine if other people are in that danger as well. The current status quo is that it's totally normal, totally acceptable to just put life into unlimited danger, and for it to then suffer terribly, which it does. Like, causing the ultimate harm is like the ultimate normal thing in our society. That's true insanity. All right, I know I'm waffling. That's because nobody's been joining, but now we do have some guests finally. So hello, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So I think you shouldn't work towards ending all of suffering. You should work towards ending your own suffering.
Why?
What I mean, why are you focused on everyone else? Why would you not just end your own?
I care about them. That's why.
So why don't you go first?
Because I care about others. It's not just myself.
But that's not really an answer.
Well, that's like saying, you can help this person or yourself. Well, if I care about them, then I'm going to help them, right? That is an answer.
Who goes first then?
Well, no, so we're not asking
You want to
anyone
spread the message, but you're not actually willing to go be the first person to do it.
To do what?
End your suffering.
What do you mean? You're not making sense.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, you're not making sense.
What does ending suffering mean?
So we have to cause total extinction, starting with animals to end their suffering. And then, that'll probably take hundreds of years at least. And then we have to do humans.
But why do we have to end all suffering anyway?
Well, we don't, right? If you care about life, then you do. But if you don't care about others like you, then obviously you're not going to do that. So this movement
give me a reason as to why we should.
Yes, well, no, there is no reason, right? So this movement is just for people that do care about others. I can't give you a reason to care about others. You're either a good person or you're a bad person.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
If you want to end all suffering, then you should just go first, honestly.
How would that end all suffering?
Because it would end yours, and that would be all suffering for you.
But not actually all suffering, though.
But you're not really worried about ending all suffering.
Yeah, I am. That's why I'm doing this.
And like I said, why should we end all suffering anyway? I think a lot of people deserve to suffer.
Because it's the only fair thing, right? You're saying, why should we have a fair system where everyone's safe? It should
you don't
be
think
obvious,
some
right?
people deserve to suffer?
No.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think children being, tortured, animals being tortured?
So you think criminals that commit heinous crimes shouldn't
That's a
suffer?
tiny minority. Most sufferers are innocent.
Well, like I said, I believe there should be some people that do suffer.
Okay. So do you think, innocents?
Do you agree?
Do you think that innocents should suffer?
But do you agree with what I'm saying?
No, but do you think that those who are innocent should suffer?
Well, you're kind of contradicting yourself because you say you care about humanity, and if you don't agree that some people should suffer because of the crimes they committed, then you don't care about the victims.
What? So caring about people. So you think that if I care about people,
you're saying the criminal's life takes precedence over the victim's life.
Do you think I have to want people to be tortured if I care about them? This is the upside down logic I've been trying to explain to people.
No, it's not upside down logic.
Yeah, that's the most insane thing possible that you could have possibly said.
Well, that is essentially what you're saying.
No, no, it's the opposite. What the heck are you talking about? All right, you're finished. That guy is probably extremely drunk, so let's just forget that entire conversation. They're probably on heroin and other drugs as well. You would have to be to say such insane things. So let's just forget that conversation. Let's start afresh with a new person, somebody who's smarter, somebody who's not on drugs. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Hey, we had a conversation about this like a while ago. I came up on your live and we went back and forth. I guess one thing we overlooked, I think we just got hostile towards each other for no reason, right?
It happens.
What do you, when you talk about suffering, right? And let's just talk about animals for a moment, right? The way that nature is. To end suffering, you would have to almost alter laws of nature, right? You would either have to exterminate almost everything, right?
No, we've already made many species of animals go extinct, right? So we can already start reducing populations. You don't need magic to do that.
I'm not saying it's magic, but I was just saying like a strategy for this, right? To end all suffering would be the total extermination of all life. Right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why would that be favorable to me over something like Buddhism, where I can enlighten myself beyond suffering?
Because that doesn't apply to everyone, right? That's not something that can help everyone.
I guess we kind of touched on it last time. Some of the methods of mass extermination of life would be maybe with the help of AI, right? Maybe with the help of these sort of like systems that would, say it how it is, force people to kind of fall in line with this plan, right? Why couldn't we use that same strategy, but with a different goal that does not involve the extermination of all life? I feel like it would be just as effective to end suffering if we can.
No, the problem is that there is no way to provide certainty of safety without non-existence. It's the only safe way. There's no other way to provide certainty of safety. It's impossible.
But what's the purpose of safety if it's not to preserve life, right? That's kind of what safety is.
Well, no, that's not the only reason, right? Because otherwise, what would be the point of euthanasia, right? So, yeah.
But that's euthanasia is by choice, right? Like this wouldn't be obvious.
No, it's not. Euthanasia is normally not by choice.
Normally, yeah, but I mean, like, if you look at some of the things in Canada, like, you can choose to,
but no,
kind of end it yourself, right?
No, the thing is, prevention is better than treating, right?
Sure, yeah, I can see that. Just as a diesel mechanic, right, I kind of resonates. Preventative maintenance is what we call it. You prevent bad things from happening. I can understand that, and I'm not just here to just say that you're wrong because I want you to be. I get what this is, and I understand the issue, right? But my thing is that just from my own anecdotal experiences and all of the heinous things that I have seen in my life, right? There's still sort of light in the dark, and I frequently hear people talk on podcasts, or if I listen to some speeches from Buddhist monks even, right? They also understand this, and their methodology to cope with it is that nature is nature, and that's something that will never change. The only way we can change
we've already changed
is to exterminate.
We've already changed nature, right? We have GMOs. We've made several species of animals go extinct. We knock down forests. Right? Nature is our bitch already, right?
Sure, yeah. It's just the method of suffering is still constant, right? No matter how I mean, before humans were the dominant species on Earth, right? There was still suffering just because nature's the way that it is. And to me, I would much rather focus on the journey of trying to make a difference rather than the solution that can ensure nobody else can learn from the same journey that I took, right? Like I
Yeah,
can't
but
see
the
it
thing
as
is that
like the best
safety from a life of pure hell is more important though.
solution. Yeah, and I could see that, but I mean, are so what you're saying is that there is literally no other option whatsoever. There's no other solution. This is it.
We should put maximum resources towards safety, right? And the worst danger in this world is to be trapped in a life of pure hell. So that's the most important danger to be providing safety for. And yeah, unless you go all in, 100% in on prevention of life and prevention of life existing, which we can already do, then yeah, suffering will continue. There's no way to provide certainty of safety for everyone without extinction. It's the only fair thing. So, if we usually put fairness and safety first with most things anyway. But people make an exception when it comes to life, which is the most backwards thing that you could do, right? At the minute, think of it this way. Anyone can walk into a pet shop, buy an animal, take it home and just torture it for several years, like in the worst ways possible. Our current respect for life is as low as it could possibly be. So extinctionism is about having the highest respect for life, the highest standards possible, which life deserves, which is either certainty of safety and just not being forced to exist if it's not safe, basically.
Sure. And I hear you, dude. Like, the more I think about it, it makes sense. The more it makes sense, right?
I would say that the more you think about it, the more you should see that we have no respect for life, right? No one cares about life. No one cares what happens to it. So we need to change that.
I guess okay. So I'll give a personal example as to why that's not true because I do care. For a small stint for about 4 years, actually like 2.5 out of the 4 years, I was patrolling reserves in Mozambique, Africa. Um, it was kind of east of the town of Palma. It's on the coast, right? And so like I was actively trying to help with poaching, right, or anti-poaching, excuse me. Um, this was all I could do. I gave up. It was a massive career change. Obviously, I had to make massive sacrifices in my life, right? That you know most people probably wouldn't, and I still felt the need to try to help.
Yeah.
So for you to say that nobody cares, I truly do care. But I
no,
would much rather
the
see.
problem is that what I meant is that nobody has the correct respect for life. Nobody is
Sure.
saying we should make it so that no PDF file is having kids. Nobody is saying we should make it so that no animal is being tortured horrifically. Right? We're the ones
Yeah,
saying no suffering is acceptable. Only safety for everyone is acceptable.
I see what you're saying, man. Yeah, I just have to think about it
But
more.
this is just evolution. Evolution made it this way. When life developed, it had to become blind to the fact that life is wrong. So evolution has spent the last billion years developing defense mechanisms to keep life forms ignorant and blind to the fact that life is bad. It was the only way to keep them reproducing and surviving to keep reproducing. They had to be blind to the fact that this was actually bad for them.
I guess so. So here's another thought I just kind of had. You just made me think. Let's talk about like extinction level events throughout just history. There's been
Yeah,
many.
the last one,
Well,
the
the
last
past.
asteroid, the last asteroid had the power of 1 billion nukes, and it still didn't cause total extinction. So extinction events are not relevant. We need to use science to have the most thorough extinction possible. And using nukes or an asteroid is not going to be good enough. We have to be much more scientific and thorough, not just throwing something at it and hoping it will work.
So now, picture this though, right? That we can both agree that consciousness, for an example, isn't an irreducible factor to the universe, as far as we can observe, right? That there's a level of consciousness that correlates directly with energy, and then we can assume based off logic that energy must have always been there before even the Big Bang, right? It's been energy. So to me, right, we can say extinction might be the most moral option for life. But if consciousness is consciousness, what if we're propelling everything into a state that we don't even understand, and that's infinitely more morally wrong than trying to figure out life here and to make it
Yeah,
as least
the problem with that
amount of suffering.
the problem with that mentality is that it allows for the worst cruelty possible, right? It's like saying, well, why even bother saving the child from the abuser's basement, right? Because I just let them be tortured, let them be abused, because it's probably better than the alternative. So that mentality just allows for anything, and so we can't operate on that basis. There's no evidence for an afterlife. There's no evidence that existence outside of this is super hell, basically, right? This is effectively already hell. So the only argument against it in that sense would be that anything outside of this is super hell. And don't get me wrong, I've thought about it many times, but realistically, there's no evidence for that. And we can't operate on a basis of analysis paralysis. We have to just try and prevent all of the suffering in the only effective way that we can.
Sure. I hear you, brother. I admit I don't agree 100%, but I now understand, finally what you were trying to talk about. It took a while, almost a month, but I get it. So, but all right, man, I'll probably get out of here, keep thinking about it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I appreciate good conversations like that. Nobody is born extinctionist. When I joined the movement, it took me like 2 or 3 months of asking stupid questions, embarrassing questions that I was embarrassed to ask, because I still didn't get it all. But I pushed through, and now I get it fully. So yeah, everyone is going to start off with not understanding it, and to have embarrassing questions. Like, oh, I'm wondering about this, but I think I'll sound stupid if I ask it. But part of the reason that we have those stupid questions, specifically in relation to this topic, is because we evolved to find it difficult to think about this. You get like a brain block, you get brain fog when trying to think about suffering and to empathize with suffering. We basically evolved to be incapable of empathy, full empathy, basically. And the worse someone is suffering, the harder we find it to have empathy with them. Okay, let's bring on the next person. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. Okay.
How's it going? Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. So I think life without suffering isn't life.
Yeah, I agree. Abolish it.
But I like living. I like life. So
Yeah, but just because you like something doesn't mean that you should force it onto someone who doesn't like it.
yeah. So but you're forcing other people to die with your movement.
Yeah,
That's the same logic.
but life is forcing people to die. So extinction is the only way to minimize that.
You're also forcing people to die.
Yeah, but life is doing it more. So we are the lesser of two evils.
No, not. Wait.
Right? Got you, didn't we? Yeah, we got you. Right?
Wait. Wait. This is funny. Wait.
Okay. So yeah, if
But
forcing
yeah,
people to die is
what if
bad,
people want to
then
like
we
live
should
a full
abolish
life and
life
not
as
die
fast as
early?
possible.
People want to
So-
live a full life and not die early.
Sorry, say again.
Some people want to live a full life. Like they want life to kill them, not you.
Yeah, but no, that's not true. That's not true for everyone, right?
Yeah, not for everyone, but some people want to die right now. Some people don't.
Yeah, but I think that helping the sufferers is far more important than helping people that don't need help, right? So yeah, it's more important to make sure that nobody is being tortured than it is to make sure that some are happy and while others are being tortured, right?
Yeah, but also, uh, some people see other suffering as something good. So if we stop that, then you're making people who see suffering as good also suffer.
Yeah, that's called sadism, right? Suffering is not a good thing, and we should abolish it. Provide total safety from suffering for everyone.
Uh,
Look, do you think it's acceptable to force someone into a life of pure hell where they're begging for death?
Depend.
Dep Depends on what?
What did they do?
Nothing.
Yeah, but also this is a hypothetical as well, because you're
It's
saying that
not.
they're
This is
gonna
real
live
life.
a
This is
suffering
real
life.
life. We're not
Like
living in
you can
hypothetical
also say
land. We're
that
living
I
on
can force
Earth.
somebody to live a good life without any suffering. So
Okay, let me ask you this then. If you could force a new life into existence, right? It doesn't need to exist. It doesn't exist. You're forcing it to exist for no reason, right? Let's say you can send one to hell and one to heaven. One's going to be tortured horrifically and one's just going to be, relatively happy. Would you do it? Would you torture someone so that someone can be kind of a little bit happy?
I mean, if somebody is going to hell, that means they did something. No.
No, not in this hypothetical. Try and understand the hypothetical. Like I said, you would be forcing someone who doesn't need to exist, doesn't exist, to exist and be tortured horrifically, just so that someone else can have a bit of fun. Because that's our current system right now in this world. So do you support that?
Ah, I don't know.
Well,
That's a good one. Wait, I don't know.
yeah, the answer should be no. Nobody should be tortured.
Yeah, but what if I hate somebody?
Okay, but that's not realistic, right? You don't hate everyone in the world, okay? We're talking
Yeah, but I
about the
hate some
world. We're
people in
talking
the
about the
world.
real world.
What if I want just them to suffer so I can be happy?
Okay, so let's say you make everyone else go extinct, but there's one person you hate, you get to torture them. Would you still make everyone else go extinct?
I mean, that honestly supports your movement a lot. So
Okay, well, The Snatcher, thank you for coming on, and I'm glad we've given you something to think about. But yeah, nobody should be born to suffer. Everyone should be safe from that. Life deserves better conditions, right? Right now, everybody has essentially the lowest standards for life possible. We know that animals are being tortured. We know that people are being tortured, and no one's doing anything about it because they don't care, right? Their standards are so low, they don't care. PDF files are having children, torturing them. People are buying animals, torturing them. Nobody is speaking out against this, right? Nobody is saying, we need to change this, everyone. We need to make it safer for children. We need inspections if you're having a child. You need a license if you're having a child. No one is saying that, right? Everyone is happy for the current system where anyone can have a child, like anyone, right? It doesn't matter how evil you are, how sadistic you are, how much of a criminal record you have. It doesn't matter how poor you are. It doesn't matter how unintelligent you are. It doesn't matter what you believe, right? You can be like a radical extremist. You can basically be Hitler, and you can still have kids, and no one will even check up on them ever, right? There'll be basically no inspections, basically nothing. And it's even worse for animals, right? You can not only can you kidnap an animal from nature, but you can walk into a pet shop, just buy one with no license, no checks, no inspections. As soon as you've gone home, as soon as you left the shop with that animal, its fate is sealed, right? It's done, it's finished. It's in the hands of a sadist who could, this happens every day, right? Again, you can just walk into a pet shop, buy an animal, take it home, get a knife, and just start stabbing it, right? And people are doing this. That's the crazy thing, that this actually is happening. So yeah, you can literally be a psychopathic sadist who just loves stabbing things to death, and we'll let you have a kid. We'll let you buy as many animals as you want. Like this psychopath can buy an animal, take it home, and just murder it. And then he can go back to the shop and buy another one and do it again. No one will say anything. No one will care. Right? And this is happening. Okay? So why does no one care? Why is no one speaking out against it? They're just sat at home watching Netflix while all of this is going on. They don't care about anything. I mean, there's so many different types of suffering, and yet most people won't do any activism. They won't do anything. They won't lift a finger. It's as if the world is already perfect when actually it's not, right? I've said it before that the way people behave, they're so lazy, they're so selfish, they act as if, there's nothing that they could possibly do to help the world. They act as if they're already in a perfect world where there's no moral obligation. But that's the opposite of the truth. We live in an ocean of moral obligation. There are children being murdered right now. Like, there really are, okay? You might not be comfortable to think about, but there are children being abused to death, screaming in pain right now. Do they deserve that? Should we just let it happen? Or just, should we let it just keep happening? Or should we do something about it? Should we stop it? Nobody is even saying, like, we need to make it harder for psychopaths to have children or to buy animals. No one cares. Right? It's like the last thing that they care about. Okay, yeah, let's get some more guests on. Just, for Letitia specifically, we're going to get some more guests on. Okay, bringing up new people now. Loading them in, beaming them up, Scotty. And let's see, are they going to join? Okay, who else we got? Who else? Who can we bring to debate? Oh, hello, how you doing? Hello.
Hello, mate. You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I'm
Do you
good,
have any
mate. I've been
questions?
listening to. Oh, sorry. So yeah, I've been listening to you for about the last 10 minutes, and I was wondering. To me, it sounds like you have the same ideology. Do you know who Adam Lanza is?
I do know who he is, but no, it's a different ideology.
To me, it sounds similar because you blame a lot of evolution for the way we are. Yet he's the same. He believes it's culture that's made people suffer and the way they are today. So I was just asking, in a purely hypothetical situation, do you truly believe that mass killers are doing the right thing?
No, we're against violence. We're a completely different ideology. We're nothing to do with Adam Lanza.
But in my opinion, putting the idea in people's heads that they need to die is violent.
No, life is violent. Life is far more violent than non-existence is. Infinitely more violent, actually. So yeah, we do need to tell people the truth, which is that life is a bad thing. It is unacceptable. It does cause too much suffering. And yeah, some people might, shed a few tears over this, but that's nothing compared to those who are being tortured and need this message to get out there, need the world to change. Do you have any more questions for us? Well, I think he was maybe lagging or something, so we're going to get Monica on next. Monica from Monaco, trying to join her up now. See if she'll load in. No? Okay, let's get Matek, see if they'll join up. Oh, hello, Monica, how you doing?
I'm being chased by an African gorilla. Ah!
Oh, how terrible. Well, I'm sorry that you were born to experience that. Okay, let's get Matek back on. Hopefully a serious person who's not being chased by a gorilla. Matek, how you doing?
Chilling vibing, thank you very much. How about you?
Say again?
Chilling vibing, man. How about you, though?
Yeah, good. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, man, I was wondering, if I were to come up to you and, do something to you, would you mind that?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because we suffer, because we were born without our consent.
Yeah, would you like me to extinct you? Would that be possible?
To do what?
If I were to extinct you, right, if your body were to pass on due to I, is that okay with you?
No.
No, you don't want to die.
No.
No, you don't want to be forcefully done something. You don't want to see of which I'm gonna do to you. No.
No.
And tell me this. I have another question. I'm a curious matter of this. You know, to every joke, there's a bit of truth. So, if a being saw your prompt, they will take it as a truity and they will actually do fruition and curate what you're asking for. You're breeding, you are truly overindulging of another being in the craziest of a mind. Why?
Wait, say that last. I didn't catch the last question.
The question essentially boils to this. Why do you want others to look upon this and truly believe this, and then the consequences that they perceive from this, you don't even know how of a weight they are?
Yeah, like I said, people might misinterpret it, but extinction isn't murder, right? Extinction is when the last of a species finally passes away. So extinction and murder are completely different things. There's nothing to do with each other. But anyway, we should cause total extinction so that nobody has to suffer ever again. Why would you want anyone to keep suffering? Our next guest is F the System. So this should be good. Let's see where this goes. They didn't join. That's a shame. Okay, we've got a few more people in the queue. Don't worry. Let's keep the drama going. Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
What's good?
What's up, man? I'm
Yeah,
good.
good.
How are you doing?
Great. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I do actually. So I'm gonna start. You say extinction ends. Actually, I just want to say before I start, I'm gonna be writing down what you say. It's just kind of the way I debate, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, all good. Okay, so you say extinction ends all suffering, but ending suffering is only good if there's someone it's good for.
Why?
A dead universe has no one in it who's relieved, no one who's better off, no one who benefits.
In what
You're
way?
not saving
How?
anyone. Let me finish. You're not saving anyone from suffering. You're deleting the only beings who could ever have a stake in the matter. Better for nobody isn't better. So who exactly is your plan good for?
Do you think euthanasia should be banned?
Okay.
That's it. Your argument is finished immediately. Your argument is just cancelled. It's done. It's cooked.
Well, you say that. Give me a couple of seconds, all right? let me think about this. What are you laughing at?
A bullet.
Okay? I don't think euthanasia should be banned. Okay, you're trying to get me to agree that ending a life can be merciful, right? And then you're scaling it from one consenting person to all 8 billion animals that have ever lived. You know what I mean? The entire thing that makes euthanasia defensible is the part that your plan throws away. Euthanasia it's chosen. It's a specific person that is facing their own unbearable and irreversible suffering.
But prevention is better than treating. Right? Oh, wow. He really, I wonder if he wrote, by the way, he left by his own volition. I wasn't expecting him to leave just now. But I guess he got destroyed that badly, huh? Fair enough. Famous is asking in the chat, how much money is your movement trying to raise? I mean, how long is a piece of string? Just the more the better, basically. People can donate to either myself or to the movement directly. On my profile, there's a link to which will take you to several links, including the Discord link, the website link. You can donate to support me personally, or you can donate to the movement's general funds, which I don't control. They're controlled by our treasurer, and they're not used for livelihood, but for like equipment and for activism. Okay, F the System is back in the queue, so let's see if they want to have a conversation this time. Let's just bring them up now.
Hi.
Hello,
How are you?
Good.
I'm
Good,
great.
good.
How about you?
Yeah, good.
Sorry,
Thanks.
I'm in China right now, so like Wi-Fi is kind of lagging somehow, and I couldn't like join. So I want to ask some things to like clarify before, you know, having a debate. So I wanted to ask how the total extinctions would work. How would that work? Like, I know that you mentioned that the last people just stopped existing, so you are not killing anyone, right?
Yeah, we need to do animal extinction first. That will take hundreds of years, and then we move on to human extinction.
So what do you mean by extinction?
Just the total eradication, right? So there's nothing left.
Yeah, and how would you plan to do that?
So we would use
I just want
science.
to know.
We would use science
Yeah.
and technology, and we would use euthanasia. So for all of the animals on the planet, we would euthanize them, potentially using gas or something else like that, as soon as possible, basically. And it won't be in one go. It won't be a virus or anything like that. It's going to take a long time, and be structured and organized and phased. And we have to remove our dependence on animals while removing the animals as well,
Okay.
so that we can survive without them. And then we research how to prevent life developing on Earth again, and try and do that for the rest of the universe as well. Prevention of life for as much of the world as we can. And as soon as humanity's done as much as it can, that's when we should make it extinct. And we may be able to do that sooner if we can pass the job on to AI and robots. They can continue the mission of providing safety from being born for as much of the world as possible. And if they can do that, then maybe we can go extinct sooner.
All right. So I'm sorry because my English is my third language, so I'm not like, what do you mean? What's the definition of euthering? What, like the word that you said?
So
Euthering?
euthanasia, that's when
yeah.
it's when you end a life for ethical reasons, like an animal that's suffering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so you talked about consent, but how can we know that the animal would be like consensual to die?
Yeah, so they won't consent to it, but they didn't consent to be born, and they haven't consented to all of the suffering that they're either experiencing now or might experience. So if we don't, so yeah, euthanasia will be nicer, it'll be better than the natural death that they would have otherwise, and the natural life as well is also too bad for most animals.
But I have a question. So why would someone participate in the death of an animal that isn't consensual? Because like I would love to participate because I kind of think like you know, life is so bad and it's so unfair and like nobody asked to be born, but I wouldn't end a life of an animal myself. Just convince me to like participate in your movement because I just animals cannot say I consent to death, right? So I would not go out of my way to do that for them because they didn't like say I want to die,
Yeah,
and
but they didn't
I
want to be
didn't
born
put
either.
them. Yes, I didn't put them into this world, right? So their mother put them into this world. I'm against that, of course. Of course, but I'm also against the fact that I would have to be the one to make them die because if they cannot consent to death, right?
But they're going to die
How
anyway.
can I know that?
They're going to die anyway, and their death will be worse.
Yes,
So we should give them a better
yes,
death.
and some people, I don't know about animals. I didn't like study animals' brain, but some people want to still live. So I feel like it's kind of the same with animals. Of course, like there's some animals that wants to die, but how can I know the difference between animals that wants to live and animals that don't want to live?
Well, Animals can't really consent, right? In the same way that you can't.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing. That's the
yeah.
thing that I'm like,
So they can't take care of themselves. We have to do it for them. And the same is true with humans. They can't make responsible decisions for themselves. They're putting themselves in danger without realizing it. So that's not good for them, and they end up suffering terribly. And basically, being alive is the problem. And the rational position is to understand that the sooner you're safe in non-existence, the better. But evolution in nature has programmed life to go against their own best interests and to want to live, even though it's actually not good for them. So they can't
yeah,
understand that because evolution has twisted their brains so that they can't
brainwashed.
understand that. Yeah. So
No, I
we have
totally
to.
get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But do you truly believe profoundly in your heart that everyone wants to die?
No, but that's the problem.
That no one
They
is
don't want to
grateful?
die. That's the problem. So we have to do it for them.
Yeah, so they don't want to die. It's like, I don't want to eat sushi. Are you gonna force me to eat sushi? Like, if someone is born into this world, they didn't consent to it. Of course, that fucking sucks, right? Because this world is awful. It's unjust, and I get that. But the fact that we have to eliminate them too, it's like kind of
Yeah,
saying,
but
oh,
but, but
well,
essentially,
you're gonna have to die.
you're giving priority to something which was designed to cause harm, right? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the desire to live is something that nature did to you against your best interest. It made you want to live, even though it's not good for you. So no, we can't respect that. We can't allow that. That causes harm, and it causes people and animals don't have enough rationality to make these responsible decisions, and so no,
Uh-huh.
we really can't respect their decisions
No,
on
I
that.
totally get that. But do you believe that what we are isn't our bodies? What we are might be our consciousness, our brain. So what the other person thinks, example, the person thinks that, oh, life is so good, right? It's gonna be their reality. Your
Yeah,
reality is
it's
different, mine is
false though. It's
different.
false. It's false. So it's
Yeah.
wrong.
No,
So,
I get
if
that it's
someone is
false. I
wrong
agree.
and says, I want to do this, even though it's wrong, I'm going to say, well, no, that's wrong. I'm not going to let you
Well,
hurt yourself.
I don't know. Maybe it's right for them, right? Because we all have different minds. Your
No, it's
mind
not
is
right.
different
No,
than my
but
mind.
again, you're ignoring the fact that people's brains have been programmed by nature to go against their own best interests. That's not something that we should
Yes, and
glorify.
if they think that it is for their best interest for some fucked
Then
up
it's wrong, isn't
reasons,
it? Then it's wrong.
all
Look,
right, and
look, a
like
child that wants to try heroin, you wouldn't say, "Oh, well, that's what they're deciding, so I'll let them do it."
no, because they are putting their life in danger.
Exactly. It's the same thing.
Okay, so example, if they really want to explore the world before they die, would you let them do that, or would you say
No.
no?
No, because
No,
they're not making an
there's no
informed
point.
they're not making an informed decision.
Mm-hmm. So you think that there's no point in, life because we're all gonna die, because you said that they're gonna die anyways, right?
Look, how many people have thought, "Oh, I'll be fine," and then before they know it, they get trapped in a life of pure hell, begging for death, wishing they'd never been born, thinking, "Oh God, I shouldn't have done this." Right? That's not something we should allow people to have happen to them.
And sorry to say like this, I don't mean that in a mean way, but how many people have, really enjoyed life and died peacefully?
Yeah, but by that mentality, if we go with that, oh well, then as long as one person is happy, it doesn't matter if everyone else is being tortured. That just
Yeah,
doesn't make
okay, I'm
sense.
getting there. Yeah, no, to this I totally agreed. I'm getting there. So what if us as a society, because suicide is not normalized enough, right? Like
And
when
you're going to say
someone
that
kills
children being
themselves.
abused should just kill themselves. That's your solution?
No, no. I'm not
Are you
saying
sure?
that.
It sounds like you're about to say that.
Okay. No, oh my God. Well, kind of,
Prove me wrong.
but no.
Yeah, I
Okay.
called it exactly. So children being abused by
No,
pedophiles, they should hang themselves. That's your solution.
no, they shouldn't do that.
So they should
They
just keep
shouldn't
being
be doing
raped.
that.
They
I'm
should just
not
keep
saying
being
that.
raped. They should just keep being abused.
No, I'm not. I'm getting
They
there.
should wait for the
Can
murder
you
so that
stop?
they can escape. That's
Can you,
great.
if you want me to speak?
You're done. You're out of here. We don't want you to speak. Okay, let's get some next guests on. Who have we got? Okay, transactions coming up next, potentially. Yeah, we need more people to join the queue. Let's get some more debates going. Oh, actually, maybe I need to get going. Got dinner ready soon. Yeah, I did say this would be a short stream, only 45 minutes or so. But we managed to own some people and, to annihilate some people. So that was good. Follow my channel, watch my videos on my stream, and, keep up the stream. I'll probably stream again tomorrow. Join the Discord, right? Join the conversation. Yeah, I'm ending the stream in a few seconds, but you can continue the conversation on our Discord. Click on my link on my profile, and you can click on the button to join the Discord. Alternatively, you can Google search Abolish Suffering Discord, and it should be the first link. You can also join the Discord and the WhatsApp through the link on our website, proextinction.com. Become an activist, help us grow the movement with peaceful activism until we can carry out a revolution, take over the world, take power, and start running it ethically. This has to happen anyway. It's being run by Donald Trump, billionaires, criminals, child abusers. So the world needs to be taken over and run ethically anyway. So help us do that and help us start abolishing suffering. We need to make it so that you can't just walk into a pet shop, buy an animal, take it home and abuse it. So that you can't just have a child and let it, suffer with chronic depression and suicidal thoughts for its entire life, or be born with brain damage and mental disabilities, right? Why should anyone be born to be, extremely mentally disabled? That's cruel. And yet we just don't care right now, right? So we need to change from having unlimited acceptance of suffering, unlimited acceptance of life being born into just whatever conditions. Who cares how much it suffers? No, let's change that to, yeah, we do care if the life suffers, and we should have certainty of safety where nobody is born with a high risk of ending up in a life of pure hell, wishing you hadn't been born, begging for death, right? Just begging every single day. For those who are begging for death and wishing they hadn't been born, it's pretty much all day, every day that they're wishing they hadn't been born. They're begging for death. And yeah, they will say stuff like, I hope there's a God and please kill me, right? They'll get desperate. They'll say all sorts of terrible, insane things because they're desperate, okay? And, wanting to not live anymore, you can't just unalive yourself, okay? It doesn't work like that. It's too scary. You can end up disabled. You have survival instinct. You have all sorts of terrible things that prevent you from just doing that and make it scary and confusing. This is terrible. How can anyone support this continuing? Anyway, so how do I respond to the allegations? Come on the stream. Let's debate. All right, so yeah, thanks everyone, and I'll probably be streaming tomorrow, so check us out then. And in the meantime, join the Discord through the link on my profile or Google Abolish Suffering.